out to be completely unreliable assholes.
Hello, Tim.
Hi, Ryan.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And to everyone else who may be listening, who is listening. If you just heard me say you may be listening, you are indeed listening. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it may be.
Please continue listening.
Yes. Well, we're just getting started, Tim. We haven't even said yet. Welcome to Dismembering Horror, the podcast show where myself, Ryan McDuffie,
and myself, Tim Aslin,
we dismember a horror film every week, in fact. And what does it mean to dismember a horror film, Tim?
Well, we plug the TV in.
Yep.
And then we turn up the electricity and we watch the TV. Mm-hmm. And we jump inside of the TV.
Yep.
And then we jump out and rip the TV apart.
Yep.
Does that
all set to
work?
No More Mr. Nice Guy.
That's right.
And then we also talk about what worked for us, what didn't work for us, and anything we found interesting or noteworthy about the horror film, whether that be a tidbit or an observation or a question at play.
Yeah. Or as I like to do, just random factoids, because I have nothing more to offer.
Anything that doesn't quite fit into what worked and what didn't work today. And every day we do it. And we watched a film from 1989, trying to cross off our Wes Craven filmography checklist.
Yeah, that'd be a fun week to just blaze through all of his movies.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing we can do. I
like that idea.
I guess we don't have to wait for Halloween era, but whenever, hey, it's our show, Tim, if we want to.
What would be the like anti-Halloween? What's 6 months exactly from Halloween?
Well, I thought more if it was like the director's birthday month, that could be a reason to do it. Or something like that. Idea. Or, be appropriately morbid and do a death-iversary, too.
Yep.
Either way.
It'd be March 30th.
Okay. So just to hold us over until whatever our next Halloween special is.
Weena Hollow.
Oh, God. Just messing with that. What did we do last? We watched Hexen last time. That was fun.
That was fun.
That was a double buy it for us.
Yeah.
It was good talking about it. I don't know, anything else you got before we get into this movie? Catch up on?
I don't think so.
There was something. I always want to clarify something.
Disney Plus is out?
Whatever. Once they have their first horror films on there, well, Halloween Town is on there. And Halloween Town 2.
I don't even know. What is that?
They're like some Disney, channel movies.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
No, I just listen to our, when I'm editing our episodes, sometimes I'll have a thought of like, I could clarify that now, or put that a little differently, or whatever. But whatever, I forget what
90% of what I say.
Okay, great. Well, we'll just do the first things first then and get into the trailer for the film we watched. How about that?
What was the film we watched?
Shocker.
We are here today to bear witness to the execution of Horace Pinker, whose unspeakable atrocities have horrified the people of this great state. He stands convicted of 52 counts of aggravated assault, 23 counts of armed robbery, and 37 counts of murder in the first degree. Prisoner, have any final words?
Yeah. No more Mr. Nice Guy.
I don't think he's dead. Contact. He's among you.
Now, Wes Craven brings you his greatest creation.
No more!
Shocker.
That was a slick brief trailer.
Yeah, I like trailers that have that just sort of get in, get out.
Yep. Yep.
What's the setup? Get set up. Give us some teases.
Don't explain the whole movie.
Yeah. Show off some indelible imagery.
Yep.
All right, Tim.
That's cool.
Next is our rating. Mm-hmm. Would you, Tim, tell yourself to avoid Shocker, stream Shocker, rent Shocker, or buy Shocker?
I'm actually kind of torn. I might rent this. It's not good. But I had a lot of fun with it. So maybe, you know what? I mean, we did rent it. But like if I was sitting there and looking for something to watch and that was a rent, like a $2.99 rent or something like that, I'd probably not do it. So by that logic, I'm a stream.
I also give it a stream. Though we made the most of our time, I think, and the ending was pretty great and stuff throughout it was good. I just can't shake that, honestly, like for most of the movie, or by the time it hit like the hour 20 mark when it was like what I thought was going to be the ending, I like was just waiting for it to be over, and then I was sad it wasn't over. I'm like, oh god, we're still going, even though that's when it got to the better stuff. But just the very fact that I was like, definitely slogging through it for the most part. I think I can only give it a stream.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, it's a weird movie.
Yeah, which sometimes I just love, and
there are parts of it that I think are just hilarious and awesome and so dumb.
Yeah,
but we'll get into it.
We will. Well, great.
Yeah, that's it.
So then our summary is next.
Oh boy. Okay. So let's see. College quarterback Peter Berg.
Okay.
Let's start with him. And his dickhead
what did you call him?
College quarterback?
No, Peter Berg.
Peter Berg.
That's the actor.
Yeah, that's the actor.
Okay.
I fucking know. Jonathan, right?
Yeah.
Whatever, Jonathan. Ugh, this full name thing. So 80s.
So Jonathan Parker, he's a quarterback, and he is a part of a foster family. His mom dies. That's not that big of a deal to him because that doesn't get the plot going.
No, but
so then his girlfriend dies.
Right.
And
but you know what I like about Jonathan Parker and the setup of him is that he's like, his character flaw is that he doesn't like focus enough.
Where do you see that?
In the opening practice, the coach comes down on him really hard. He's like, "You gotta focus more, Jonathan." And then he focuses harder and he catches a pass and
oh my
runs
god!
to the.
I just realized. Does his concussion give him the dream ability thing?
Oh.
Is that why that happens to him this whole time?
Maybe.
I'm wondering. Okay.
So then he gets a concussion.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to take away from that, but that's his setup.
Yeah.
So on that point, he then goes home and is, or to his frat house or something. I don't even know where he lives. And his girlfriend's...
No, that's where he lives with his, foster parents. Because that's the same house that he, walks into and his mom's dead. And...
No. They are two different houses.
No.
I know. It took me a minute, but they are two different houses.
They look exactly like...
I know.
What? What?
I know. So his girlfriend...
Allison.
Right. She stays the night because she's concerned about his concussion, and he has a dream that his mom and sister and brother are being killed by a serial murderer who's out on the loose, and that his stepdad, who's the lead detective, has failed to catch. They don't know nothing about this guy, and magically Jonathan has this prescient dream of the murder of his own family.
He can send his dad, the angry cop. He's able to send the cops saying, "Oh, this is his truck. This is exactly what happened." Yet he's still not trusting of him. Like, I don't know, he never once acknowledges like, oh, good job, son. I don't know how you knew this.
Right.
But, wow, look, we found him. That never happens.
That's an interesting, like, is that commentary on something? Like, just, or is it just bad rote sort of
I think it's
father?
Bad rote father because because he's let's just say extremely one note.
Yeah.
Even though at the end, I know you always had a good heart, Dad.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. And so this sets us off onto because of his dream, we learn like the police figure out who the serial killer is,
and then the serial killer gets mad at him because I guess he exposed him.
But also, does the serial killer
Horace.
does he know? See, this is confusing to me. But like, it almost seems like the dreams, the visions that Jonathan has, that Horace is somehow also aware that Jonathan is in
because
them.
he starts seeing him in Horace's reality is reality as far as Jonathan's dreams. They're the same thing. So he sees Jonathan appear like in his reality, which is reality.
Gotcha. Okay. So if that's not nutty enough, then Horace gets caught and put in the electric chair. And
wait, no, his girlfriend dies before that, right?
Fuck. Yes?
Yeah, because then I don't know.
I don't even remember how he gets caught. But so regardless, so Horace is a black magic practicing Satanist.
Yeah.
Which is great because this is coming off Satanic Panic of the 80s. Gets the electric chair, casts a spell beforehand, uses the electricity, I guess, to become super naturally powerful, and then transfers his consciousness into other people through electricity.
A spell on himself by getting electrocuted before getting electrocuted to survive electrocution.
Right. Okay. So then we're in more nutty land of him just transferring his consciousness from body to body and chasing down Jonathan.
Yep.
And Jonathan's got to figure out how to not get killed, and also
really important too. His girlfriend was killed, and that's sort of again his foster mom he was just kind of like whatever about her death. But now that his girlfriend has died, he's like, gotta fight Horace Pinker,
and she sort of holds the key with her necklace of love.
Yeah,
love combats Horace's dark magic,
except it doesn't. Because it ends up being a MacGuffin too. They don't actually find it, right?
Oh yeah. Well, it appears, but who the fuck knows?
But but Allison, the girlfriend, keeps appearing in ghost form and can shoot like ghost powers and stuff.
And we have a fucking ghost fight. If you want to call it that.
And then it all culminates in an
the nuttiest
frenetic,
of nutty.
Yeah, this was great. This was the movie here. This was the promise of the premise here, where Jonathan and Horace are jumping in and out of different TV stations, in and out of like viewers' rooms and news stations,
through the screen, back into the screen.
It's basically like the early Forrest Gump technology of like putting them in all sorts of old like Vietnam footage and stuff.
Just blue screening it up.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Flying all around, and somehow by that, Jonathan defeats Horace.
Well, he gets the remote control.
Yeah.
And then has the control. Mm-hmm. Which, if you want to try and, we'll try and figure out the logic behind any of that.
Great. All right. I think we summarized it. If not well.
Yeah, if that isn't, a apropos summary of this fucking weird-ass movie, I don't know what it is.
Really, our summary is more just to plug you into whatever our brains made of it versus any kind of apt summary otherwise.
Really? God damn.
All right. That's good. Let's do it. Our first section. How about that?
Yeah, let's... is there anything else? No, that's it. Let's do it.
What worked?
What worked? What worked for you? What worked for you? What worked for you?
It worked like a charm, Smith.
What worked? What worked for you?
probably my favorite part about this film.
That's it?
Which I thought...
Let's get right into it.
Which I thought was just, something that wasn't a moment, but something throughout. But I guess I wanted to mention first because this was probably... Like, I haven't seen this done or done better in any other film. So it was totally unique to this film as far as I could tell. But it was the mood and dream atmosphere of different parts. Like, whenever it was those first scenes, you remember, of like him arriving at the house, discovering the mother's murder. And like the way it looked was as if it was both day and night.
Well, that's because it literally was both day and night. Like, outside, it was daytime, and inside, they're shooting it as if it's night, and have, lit it that way.
It's just,
so whether or not that was an intentional effect to make it feel dreamy and weird...
Oh, it had to be, because, like, with the music and just if everything, it felt... Like, I'd never seen that aspect of just how dreams feel done so accurately.
That's a good point. Yeah, I agree. That's cool.
And we have moments like that, too, later at the lake where it's shot similarly in this fog with kind of this blue-green day or night haze over it all.
I like that look.
Yeah.
There's one shot in the lake with the fog and everything that was just fucking beautiful. It's like a painting.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa. It's like really... It shocked me to see in this movie.
So I thought that was what stood out as being the sole excellent thing about it.
Sure.
So
that's a good point. I mean, obviously, Wes Craven being known for the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff, and so Dreams is a big component, the component of those movies, and like building the ability to put the feeling of dreams and the weirdness of dreams into film is sort of obviously a skill he has.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Any like big things for you that did? Wow, this worked.
That really, really worked? I mean, God. In a weird way, kind of no.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the stupidity of the whole thing. The feel of it, and there's a lot of wide lens sort of like, let's move through a space stuff. And there's just sort of a nice nostalgic feel to that to me. Like when they go to Horace's home base shop thing, whatever
like
you
Henry
call that.
Portrait of the Serial Killer, like electronic shop.
Yeah, just the fucking nuttiness of that era. That was a thing.
It was like
that
satanic electronic shop.
Right, that he works in this shop that's just a mess of shelves with it's like 50 Radio Shacks just shit all over the place, and it's just on shelves, and it's metallic and wires, and there's something weirdly nostalgic for me about that aesthetic. It's so fucking 80s. And I'm, that's when I grew up in the 80s. So like there's something fun about it. Like a box of wires is just like cool.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because I don't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
But that feel, and then being, in these sort of, corridors, like tight knit corridors with all that junk, and then a wide lens, like moving around, kind of handheld.
And then like skinned animals around too. So he kept getting reminded. Oh wait, that's also he's satanic guy.
And like lots of TV monitors. That thing, and there's like art installation I think it's twice a year in LA called the Brewery Art Walk, which is a really fun thing. You just wander through, and there are installments that artists are doing there that are very much sort of a throwback to that. Like there's one, I don't know his name unfortunately, but there's one room that I went into that I was like, it is literally like going into Horace's home base.
Right.
It's just TV screens and fucking nutso shit. It's just of such an era, the MTV era kind of thing. I love that.
What maybe also you love and I appreciated too was like combine all of those aesthetics with then the 80s metal.
Hell yeah.
And then this like bald Joe Rogan bad guy who's just always like, screaming and grinning and yelling.
Yeah.
Like,
he is So over the top.
Yeah.
What's his name? Mitch Pileggi. Or Pileggi? Maybe Pileggi. You would know, like if you're trying to remember why you know him, it's from X-Files. He's Skinner. He's like Fox Mulder and Dana Scully's boss.
Oh, okay.
And he sort of like that was his like quintessential role. But yeah, he's a very different character in this.
Yeah.
And for as fucking kitschy and like over the top and ridiculous as he is, it's so fun.
It's satisfying, yeah, because like combine that with the soundtrack, and it's just like, yes, give it to me. All that plus the combine that then with just like the 80s magic, like, quote unquote effects, where it's like whenever he's in energy electricity form, and like when Allison, the girlfriend, shoots like love magic out of her to like combat him.
The love beam.
Yeah, the beam.
Oh, it's so good. You know what? Actually, one moment that I hollered quite loudly out loud is in the very beginning, before we know that we're in Jonathan's dream, he and Allison are walking down the town street, sort of, and it's kind of like nobody's really around. It's a little like abandoned feeling. And they're just strolling along, talking about his head and making jokes or whatever. And they stroll up to his parents' house, or right before that, like 3 or 4 kids run across the street behind him or them, and then like they get kind of wiped before they get off screen. They run in. I don't know how to describe this. It's like they ran behind something, but there is no something to run behind. So they just sort of disappear.
It's more like they dissipate, where it's not like a hard wall they're disappearing behind.
Yeah, they just sort of are like, whoop, they're gone. And it tickled me so much because it was so unexpected. And that effect is so... I think the nostalgia of the movie for me is that all of these effects are so fucking like rudimentary in a way.
Like, remember falling into the bed of water, the water bed, and it's just like you can see them like where they're cutting alongside the water to like do the visual effect. Just like so egregiously wonderfully 80s.
Yeah. So for me, a lot of it is just that shit. I will say the Jaws mechanism effect that they used to when Allison's ghost comes out of the pond. Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
And then she they used sort of a mechanical thing in Jaws to pull the girl in the opening scene around. They use a very similar, I don't know, probably not the same exact thing, but the same effect, where she's being pulled under the water toward Jonathan, and it's very unnatural. It's like, you can't do that. I love the feel of it, though.
That was a cool
it's just a cool effect.
Yeah. So then just other I think good moments, scenes, effects, whatever. Maybe one that wasn't too specific to the premise of this, but was when Horace, after he does the thing to himself, the electricity thing to himself. Oh, that was great in itself, when it's like, remember he's electrocuting himself in his jail cell with a TV, and like a mouth comes out, like electric god mouth or whatever. That was great. But right after that moment, when he is like faking dead or whatever, and then the guard's giving him mouth to mouth, and he bites his lip, and it's just probably the best lip bite off I've seen. Right?
It's so good. It's so good. It's very similar to I can't remember if it's Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness, but there is a gag in one of those that's very similar. I don't remember where it is.
I mean, in Army of Darkness, his jaw stretches.
Maybe that's what I'm remembering. Fucking love that
No,
shit.
but this was more just like could see it happening almost, but just maybe that little exaggerated enough to make you go, oh.
Didn't we watch a movie where somebody's tongue gets pulled out? It sort of got that vibe to it. I
mean,
love
at
that
this
shit.
point, Tim, probably. I'm sure.
Yeah.
One of the Argento ones or Fulci ones, maybe.
Yeah, I love that.
And then one of my other favorite effect moments was when apparently Horace can not only possess people, but can possess inanimate objects too, because surprise, surprise, he is the easy chair that Jonathan sits in. It reminded me of like
he's like Cherry from fucking Pee-wee's Playhouse.
That's literally what I was just gonna say. Reminded me of like Evil Cherry, but it was so good because his like eyes pop up where the buttons like
yes.
are, and then like
he stands up out of it.
Yeah,
oh
the
my God.
armrests grab him, and then you see him like transform back into him in the like you know, the red, green, blue kind of close up TV pattern, just kind of ephemerizes back into his looking like Horus
God.
being.
It's so fucking just off the wall.
Well, another one of my favorite off the wall moments. So we have this weird kind of like middle chunk that for some reason it all takes place in this park, but like but it's sort of like the scene where Horus is just jumping from person to person.
Yeah.
And when he gets into the little girl, and
amazing.
It's like the little girl driving the dump truck trying to run him over.
Yeah.
That was, as you just said, amazing.
Yep. Yeah, we've forgotten to add the element that Horus has a limp. And so every time he gets into a new body, that's how we sort of distinguish that they've been occupied by him, is that they suddenly have a limp. And it is very comical to watch all these other actors like do the limp.
I mean, I just enjoyed seeing them more do
the little girl running with
Yeah.
a limp is just so what the fuck. It's wackadoo.
I guess what stands out to me though is like the little girl playing an angry, like buff bald man, like killer, because you can see her face kind of. She reminded me of in the first Troll movie when she gets possessed by the troll.
Sure.
But just like this mad face.
I love too. They're like, she turns to Jonathan at one point. She's like, "I'm gonna get you, you motherfucker."
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God. But that's the thing. It's like, and as you can probably tell from how we're describing what worked, it's so non-cohesive.
Yeah.
And that the movie is really non-cohesive, right? In a way. And so it lends itself, I guess, to you're just on a fucking ride.
Yeah, because like you just keep having to fall back on, oh, okay, it's black magic. Great. That's okay. Those are the widespread rules here. Like I almost kept forgetting because of the techno MTV aesthetic that it was like reading the Wikipedia. It said somewhere like he made the deal with the devil, and I'm like, what? When did that happen?
Maybe that was the big mouth that came out of the TV or whatever.
But just, I love, like I already mentioned, that effect of like, the mouth, like what you just said, coming out of the TV, but just the fact that that's combined with like, he has set up, is it like candles, or, I mean, he has the whole like,
that's right,
black magic ritual aspect going along too. So just to see those side by side was fun. They
really kind of blow past it as if it's a foregone conclusion too, where it's like, I think in an older 80s movie, they would like hone in on the like, ooh, it's Satanism and black magic and there's pentagrams and maybe like a, goat head somewhere. In this, they're just like, yeah, he's practiced it. It's all good. And then we see it later for like 10 seconds and we're like, just assume that we know what the fuck is going on. Okay.
And it also just seemed so, no, that's what didn't work.
Yeah. So, I think that there's something, the kitschiness of it and the self-awareness of it, I'm assuming that it's self-aware.
Yeah. I mean, Wes Craven viewed it as more of a comedy for aspects of it.
Yeah.
Like just in comparison to the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, yeah. But even the original Nightmare on Elm Street has, fun to it.
Yeah, but as far as, this one, intentionally just having more of that.
Yeah, and that, I want to talk about that, but I don't feel like I know what section it would belong in.
We have a section for just that, Tim.
Okay, great.
Things of note.
remind me to bring this up.
We already kind of mentioned I guess we already did mention that. The overt craziness of the bad guy. I just had that down as
You know what I love? I love the fucking overt, I'm going to do whatever the fuck that Jonathan and his buddies have. They're like, fuck the cops, fuck,
yeah.
Dude, at one point when they go, Jonathan So I like that. I love the premise that once Jonathan can have these visions, he's like, I got a plan. I'm going to go to sleep. It's such a ripoff of fucking Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
But he's like, I'm going to go to sleep and I'm going to, you're going to, his buddy is going to sit there next to him in the car and wake him up when the time comes when he needs to get out of the dream. But then, so they do that to figure out where the next killing is going to be. So he's got this, what do you even call that? It's prescience?
Premonition.
Premonition, yeah, it's premonition. So he can go to sleep now. His superpower that he's gained is he can go to sleep and he can see Horace's next murder. Why and like what caused him to have this connection specifically to Horace? I'm not sure we can figure it out.
My best guess as of this point, which I only realized at the beginning of the episode, was the concussion.
But why does the concussion connect him to Horace specifically?
Right.
So I think that's something that we can explore in things that did not work. But my point is the idea that he's like, I'm going to handle it. And his dad is the lead detective on this case.
That was so funny every time, like, he's actually making progress and doing things, Jonathan, but then, like, so then the dad's just trailing him, and then he gets mad at Jonathan.
Oh my God,
like,
I know.
What?
But when they get there, and the cops stop Jonathan and his friend from going in, and they hear the scream, Jonathan barrels in. His friend clotheslines a cop.
Oh, yeah.
And they go fucking running in there. And then Horace has got a knife to the lady. And Jonathan, no shit, jumps over like 6 cops to go after Horace. And then gets up on a roof together.
Jumps
across from building to building. This is a cartoon.
Yeah.
It is literally a fucking Looney Tunes cartoon. Where like the ladder is across the fucking 2 buildings. Horace goes across, drops ladder. It's just like...
And then when they fight, he does like a double jump kick.
Oh my God.
Like,
that might be my favorite moment of the entire movie. He double foot drop kicks Horace in the back. And let me tell you, I think that hurt the actor. It looked fucking insane. Can you imagine getting fucking double foot drop kicked in the middle of your back? Holy shit.
Well, that was so funny. I would say there's a lot of like what worked and what didn't work are the same things in this for me.
Yes.
Because like that, what was I gonna say? Like that jump kick, like it's fun. I don't know.
It's so stupid, but
Yeah.
that's the thing. That is the movie,
Right.
and so, it really just sort of. They hammer it home once they start jumping through the fucking TV.
Specifically, just how much of like the action in the movie predicates itself on just like a literal fracas, just like two dudes just punching each other, whether that's Jonathan or the bad guy or Jonathan and his dad and everyone else.
Yeah.
It's just like, so we have this movie that set up these things that we eventually get to in the ending, but like in the meantime, no, even though they I don't know. So yeah, again, works and doesn't work, but just there is something, I guess, as far as what does work about that for me is it's just kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, pretty quickly off the bat of the movie, once we realize that there's this sort of nutso supernatural, like all bets are off kind of element to it, that you just get on board or you don't.
And then finally, what we're on board for is that ending we mentioned in the summary.
Holy shit.
Where then they are like jumping in and out of TVs into different realities. And you're like, finally, this is the movie. This is what we were promised all along. That was great.
I swear to God, this is just an episode of Bugs Bunny. Like, I feel like I've seen this episode of Bugs Bunny when
No, Bugs Bunny never gets this weird, does it?
Yes. Like, when he has episodes with, like, The Martian, there's weird, crazy shit.
I mean,
like,
there's that one where it's like, it breaks the fourth wall with the hand erasing and drawing him. That's the closest I can get to thinking what this is.
But it just, it has it at least the feel of just nutso, like jumping through worlds and like, fourth wall breaking kind of stuff that feels like a cartoon. Maybe it's not Bugs Bunny specifically, but like it is just cartoonish. And so I think that, you know, what Wes Craven was kind of maybe going for was just commentary on the culture around TV and how we've, you know, how you get sucked into it, and the commentary of that, even outside of having an opinion on it, that there are people who are obsessed with talking about TV is going to melt your brain kind of stuff. And like, to varying degrees, it's true, you know, and media is crazy, and we still see that now. Like, I actually have a premise of a movie that sort of is commentary on, you know, the fact that we're surrounded by screens all the time. So I think there's something to
give it that it's in there. I'd argue how much it's actually baked or not.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
But no, I'll agree. Like, that idea buried in there is neat, just kind of at the end when we're seeing like the people watching TV. But then to take that a step further, like what really like an underlying idea. I will not say the underlying idea because
sure.
I think these were not fleshed out.
Yeah.
But actually it was pretty ahead of its time as far as like these ideas, philosophies of like what's real and what isn't, as far as like our different dimensions at play, and electricity being a gateway between them. But think of it as this was very like what Twin Peaks: The Return is all about, which I think again is like the best thing made in a long time, and almost kind of what's it called, not eliminates, but cancels out, nullifies media in a lot of ways for me.
Okay.
Because the level of like things that gets into is like it blends the line between our reality and what we're watching, and then the things that they are watching in what we're watching. Like, all that becomes a hodgepodge. So you think of like how, like, remember is it the Entertainment Tonight host or someone like that is actually in this movie. So we have a real life host who's in this film playing himself, and then we have the characters go in and interact with him because they're jumping through different realities. So just that whole, like, I don't know, that undercurrent there of just kind of like our imaginations and our thoughts, like, because even that's what our reality is existing on in some level. Like, everything at the baseline is the same thing. So the idea that we can like transfuse those different dimensions and realities is really interesting to me.
Yeah, it's a cool... You could, I mean, smoke a J and fucking think about that shit.
I'm happy to.
I mean, I can just imagine the conversation, like how fucking, like, what a glorious baked conversation that would be.
You don't have to be... I know
I'm just saying it would be that much more exciting.
I know you have to put it under that guise to like think it's okay to talk about far out things.
I think you don't have to, but I'm just saying it would be fun.
Yeah. Watch Twin Peaks: The Return and get back to me. But for now, we can talk about it to the extent that this film provides.
I just think it's a fun premise to break down the realities and like get kind of, you know, meta about it.
Yeah, that's all I'm trying to say.
Fun.
Yeah.
And they clearly were like, we're just going to go for it and have fun with it. So
I'd say we're going to have fun. I don't know about go for it, but as far as have fun with it, yes.
Sure. All in all, other than that, you know,
yeah,
I don't really have anything that's not just sort of like, oh, I like this, or that was fun.
Yeah, black magic stuff was cool.
Yeah.
The big scene where he gets electrocuted, that just kind of went on and on. That was kind of fun, I guess.
Yeah. The kills or the gore were okay.
Yeah.
I like when the first cop he has like a secret door, which I love. Okay. Secret doors are great. And you know, the cop gets pulled through the secret door, and then the door closes, and they are looking for the cop, and they're standing there, and then blood starts to come out from underneath. Little things like that are just fun.
Yeah.
It feels, you know, on the verge of being a fun horror. Mm-hmm. But beyond that, I don't have anything else.
Great. Then let's do our next section.
Cool.
What did not work?
It's not ready yet.
Seems to work okay.
No, something important's missing.
What did not work?
Can we just get right to the point of what the fuck is the conceit of the ending? Like, like I'm on board, actually, with jumping through TVs and shit. Like, fucking great.
You're talking about the remote control.
I'm talking about that whole sequence and the plan. Like, the plan, help me figure out the plan. The plan is send your football buddies to the power grid and shut the power grid down at a certain moment.
When you have him, yes, when he has Horace in a room that he has a remote control for.
Wait, whoa. The remote control, first of all, where the fuck did the remote control come from? Was it in his room? So the whole plan, let's figure this out. He has a news crew show up, so there's a camera there, so he can film Horace existing. Mm-hmm. I got that part. But then,
no,
what's
it's
the
because he
plan?
knows a camera is how to get him into the world. By having Horace on a TV station that he has access to, he is able to then control the circumstances, in this case, literally with a remote control.
This implies that Jonathan knew that he was going to be able to jump through TVs.
Yeah.
That's fucking bold.
Well, don't you remember how he got this plan? I was going to save that for our next section.
How?
I'll just save that for later. I'll tell you.
Oh my God. All I'm saying is, okay, I'm on, I'll even get on board with that's the plan, and they get there and they're there. But then there's the thing of his watch was like 3 minutes behind or something. I just don't get it.
I don't know.
I don't fucking get it. And then he jumps into the fucking lens of the camera.
Yeah.
How what is happening?
So yeah,
Does Jonathan now have superpowers? Are we still in a dream? What the fuck is
how
real?
Is he doing
How
it?
is he now able to jump into a fucking lens? Like, he's just like, I'm going. I'm in.
Yeah, these are the questions, including that one that arose for me, Tim. So it's like, just his dream reality ability stuff. It's again, like we said in the last section, Clydean theory. But why does he have that ability?
So there's the story element of that Horace may be Jonathan's natural father.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where did that happen?
It comes in a couple times. I think it's right before, it's right when Horace is about to be electrocuted to death, and he says, "Do you have any last words?" I think it's there where he says, like, Jonathan, you may or may not have been my son, and you may or may not have shot me in the knee, like when I was beating up your mother.
Got it.
And then Jonathan like looks at his stepdad and he's like, "Dad?" And he's like, "Don't listen to him."
So okay.
Even in this moment, the lieutenant is still pissed off at Jonathan.
Somehow in this movie that's again these half-baked ideas, like, okay, I can get, like, if it had been pushed more, that could have worked as far as this idea of, like, him in his dreams, as far as that differentiation or similarity of, like, your dreams also being a reality could connect to, like, media, television also being a reality. They're all kind of imagined, and what's real. It's all, like, maybe in some sort of same pot when you can put it on this level. But so then just these other questions, like, so Horace can possess people and objects at a certain point. It's like, that was okay.
He can he's electricity.
Right.
Like,
okay. So he can shoot electricity, but he has to fist fight him at the same time. Like,
why doesn't he just fucking Palpatine his ass?
Yeah.
Just shoot electricity into his eyeballs and be done with it.
He did that a couple times.
Fuck a duck.
But then all the other times they just had to fisticuffs. Okay. He can shoot through the air as like a beam of energy electricity, yet...
Oh my god, that was out fucking rageous.
Right, but
suddenly he just becomes a beam?
So then, but yet he also relies on traveling through outlets. Why would outlets even...
Dude.
Okay.
And it's a fucking mess.
So that... And like the remote...
The rules are in the biggest quotations you could ever be in.
And try to say what that all encapsulates by these questions. The remote control has a button and... the remote control has a pause button, so he pauses him.
Which I will note is called freeze frame.
Freeze frame.
Lovely.
And it also has buttons to make him jump up and down on the bed.
That moment, it just, all fucking bets are off.
Yeah.
When he starts just swinging the thing around like it's a magic wand.
Like it's a leash, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? And why? Like, what is it? What purpose is it serving for us, the audience? Like, it doesn't feel cathartic. It doesn't feel to me like, oh yes, Jonathan's got the power. I'm just sort of like, I hate to say this in a weird way because it seems kind of cliche at this point, maybe. But this whole movie just seems like an exercise in like a young white kid being like, my life, meh, and I'm gonna take control and be the fucking hero. There's a weird hero.
I never felt bad for him at anything. He's just kind of a dope who crashes up against a wall.
There's nothing about him that makes me feel bad about him, but he spends the movie kind of like the movie spends the whole movie trying to sort of be like, yeah, but he's got to overcome this. I'm like, overcome what?
I meant to look up kind of like, yeah, I mean, just how not even in the casting did it help me relate to him. Like, ooh. I was trying to think, like, what was it a different casting director, I wonder, between, like, this and even, like, Nightmare on Elm Street and People Under the Stairs, just, like, these things with a more kind of memorable, fun, brings you into it casting. This guy, like... feels so bad when we always pick on actors because they're people, but he felt like the poor man's Ethan Hawke to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and, you know, I actually I like Peter Berg, and in particular, I like movies that he has directed. He became a pretty good director.
Yeah, he made Battleship.
Well, woof. Shit, maybe I should take that back. He's definitely directed things that I've enjoyed, and I think he did The Kingdom, which I really, really enjoyed. So he did Hancock, which I think is fun and funny and weird.
Oh yeah.
Friday Night Lights is fun. The Rundown is fun. Lone Survivor is okay. You know, he's also done a bunch of sort of patriotic sort of undertone things that I'm like, that's just seems weird.
Everyone else in it just felt so like underutilized and at the same time, or just not well cast, or just the character is not, I don't know, offering anything. They were just kind of there. And as well as being one note, like we already mentioned, the dad is just like, that was so frustrating to him. Like, it was so frustrating with the dad whenever you have a character whose whole thing is just that they're mad all the time. It reduces the conflict to just who is yelling the loudest.
Yeah.
And that's all it became, was just between him and his dad. They were just literally just who was yelling at each other the most each time. It was so boring.
So to give just a counterpoint of how you do the discouraged father-son relationship, there's two movies that are famously, you know, the star is the same actor, that you can go to reference how to do good complex conflict between father and son. Both of them are James Dean movies, Rebel Without a Cause and East of Eden.
Just to put those in the same breath with this film.
I know. Like, but what my point is, if you want to make a movie with a father and son conflict, go watch it's done well.
Well,
first.
even like in
this is so fucking
in
one-dimensional
original
and nonsense.
In original Nightmare of Elm Street, like her relationship with her parents in that one, like the mother was kind of just an alcoholic, but how it was,
but at least she's got that going for her.
But how it was doled out was kind of like brought you in, and just how the character portrayed it. Like she has the turn moment where she reveals her history about how they killed Freddy Krueger and how that's affected them, and then you get why she's an alcoholic. Like,
yeah, like why is Jonathan's stepdad a dick?
I guess because
we don't ever get a reason. We have to come up with a reason.
Yeah.
Right?
But not only
does it have anything to do with how Jonathan and him,
but here's the
how
thing,
he got Jonathan as a stepson.
But it's not just frustrating because he is a dick. What's so frustrating is how he's like turned up to 11 dick, like just in this like completely over the top way, but yet the film is still treating it as if we're supposed to buy into that as a reality. It's not like over the top in a fun comedic way or like intentional way.
But give us a moment to get a reason for it. If you build that in, then you have somewhere to go to sort of reflect off of the point in the movie when the stepdad gets taken over by Horace and Jonathan's like, Dad, you can fight it.
Yeah.
Right? Give us a reason that like some context.
I mean, I agree, but I'm saying just even then with how it's portrayed, you can't justify it because of how over the top and ridiculous it was.
Yeah. It's just there's zero nuance. That's the fucking problem.
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
zero nuance and there's zero fucking like context for why he's turned up.
Yeah.
Because the youth of the youth of this day is a problem.
Honestly,
like,
it may
he's
be,
in college too. It's like, dude, calm down.
That kind of just devoid of any reality, it made me think like this should have been directed by like the guy who made Society, who only views things as being a cartoon.
Right.
Like then that portrayal could have kind of worked. This was just insane to me.
It's
so talking about, like once it finally gets to the end, it's like in any moment, like here, either promise of the premise is the phrase I'll use, or my version of it, I've said pursuing potent possibilities. And like when the film isn't doing that, it's just so egregious, either with it's like, why are they just literally like punching each other all this time when he should be electrocuting him? But like also, like no one like when you saw this trailer, Tim, which just like showed these cool images of like a dude going in and out of the TV and shooting electricity, did that make you go like, whoa, wouldn't it be cool in this movie to have a fight scene in a park and a plot point of needing to get a necklace out of a lake? Like,
yeah, it really speaks to the the themes of the movie.
Have it in like some mega electronics store or something.
They go to a power grid.
Yeah, or how about if the point is to have a lot of people around, have it in a mall, something that has more to do kind of with that plugging in consumerism idea.
Sure.
Like, why are they in a park? Why are they in a park, Tim?
Because that set was cheap.
What and the whole necklace in the lake thing? It's like, see, that works in Evil Dead because they keep it as simple as it should be. Of just like, great, it's power of love. He's gonna remember her.
It's just representative.
Yeah,
that's it.
This they like build it up like it's a literal thing, and then it doesn't even like come back, and you're just,
yeah, it's so sigh-worthy.
Yeah. Also, so the bad guy, Horace, his name's Horace, first of all, but
yeah, I have the casting and like making him super, super tan and like calling him Horace, which I guess just because of Horace Grant, who's a black basketball player, it makes me feel like they wanted him to be a black guy and somebody was like, maybe you shouldn't make the serial killer a black guy. I don't know. There's something about it. I always, whenever I saw the cover of this or the poster for this, I always thought that he was a black guy.
Again, he just looks like a Joe Rogan type dude.
Yeah. But so I don't know if there's something to that or if I'm pulling that out.
Well, how about casting aside? I mean, if they would have found someone comparable to him that's just sort of like a brute type is what he is. Like he's not, they try to portray him, and this just does not work in movies even as far back as 89. But like, you can't have someone who's just a weird dude, like even a killer, like as a monster. They're like Freddy Krueger works, even though he was a real person. You have what he did was so horrendous, but that's just not it. He would still just be a person then. But then by being someone who sort of enters into the dream world, he takes on, that's when he becomes a monster, and we don't know the rules that apply to him. But it's only till the way end of this movie that Horace actually becomes, and it's like using those rules of him being more than that, like Charles Lee Ray and Child's Play or something. But even once he does get to like, I have superpowers, he's still like him. He's still like a person. He's kind of like, oh, whoa, I just discovered this power. He's like a person just doing all these things. And it makes it so awkward when it's trying to build him up as like, oh, wow, this like, is he supposed to be fun because he is just like a sort of gnarly dude, but at the same time it's like trying to treat him like he is a monster. I don't know, it was so weird. Like he's not just this like new memorable slasher villain at all. Like, no, and also we glaze over so much about who and what he is. Yeah, did you buy that character would be into black magic? Like, why the heck is this dude? Like, that's why I think that maybe the script was like, it's a black dude, and you know what I mean? Like, it feels to me like they were trying to dodge a little bit of like, this might come across not so great. But even in like Hellraiser and Child's Play, you have the Caucasian people who are doing black magic, who we buy into that these people would do it. Horace was just like a klutz, kind of like oafish, like just one note. He's like the equivalent of the dad character. Yeah, kind of, yeah. I didn't buy that this person, if you want to call him that, would ever stop to read a book. No. He's too busy just yelling and killing people. But also, like, what's his thing? Like, what is the conceit of his character before we get to the electricity stuff? Like, why? Yeah, he's a serial killer. Is that specifically kills families? Is he? Yeah. So, what kind of psychopathic motivation is that? Where's he coming from? He seems like he's mad. He's not like a sort of... He does seem real mad. Yeah. What's he so mad about? Right. It's not like he's doing it out of pleasure. He's doing it out of this, like, it's as if he's trying to get revenge. It's not just like he's doing it because he's sadistic, you know? What, right? Like, what is his angle? What's his MO? What the fuck, dude? He loves electronics. Yeah. And he hates families. Yeah. What's the fucking connection? I liked this review of it. Michael Wilmington of the Los Angeles Times stated that the film is crammed with dazzling bursts of macabre technique, but is so diffusely organized it's almost 3 separate movies. Yeah, that's how I felt watching it. Yeah. Oh man. Also, what's up with his fucking outfit? Whose outfit? The Shockers. The Shocker? I'm going to call him the Shocker. He's going to shock you. So his orange jumpsuit has a checkered stripe across the chest. Is this really what was distracting you? It does. It bothers me. I don't get it. That's not a prison jumpsuit. What the fuck's going on? I'm not going to claim to know what it should look like. That's like a jumpsuit you wear on the track, like on the fucking drag strip. All right, if that's your like really, I think it's just indicative of like whatever. Let's just throw it in. My weird little thing that was maybe specific to me that rubbed me the wrong way was when they jump into that house of like that gross family with like that flower wallpaper and like food all around. Yeah. And like the weird paintings on the wall. It felt just like it was it just felt gross.
It did feel gross.
It felt like, you know, how Garbage Pail Kids just leaves a gross taste in my mouth.
I wondered a little bit about that family in that moment.
It felt like it was supposed to be commentary or critique, but it just also at the same time felt like this was just your regular family.
Well, that's my question. There's a part of me that was like, wait, is this family, are we in a TV show? Like, is this a sitcom family?
It was towing that line in a way that was really
because they were so comical that I was like, I almost felt like we were supposed to almost believe that they had come into an episode of Roseanne.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but are we supposed to think that this is a TV show
Roseanne's
that they've fallen
house
into?
Was not that ugly.
No, I agree. But it's sort of like the heightened version of that. Or is this supposed to be a real family in the U.S. at the time?
I think it was supposed to be that latter one, like a real family.
That is pretty fucking harsh commentary.
Yeah.
To be like, this is your average family watching TV right now. Complete slobs and just cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh.
Like the curlers in her hair.
It felt gross. Like you said, like it just actually felt kind of like, ooh.
Yeah.
I don't like how this feels. It's kind of just feel like it's like when somebody starts going too far and making fun of somebody, you're like, it's not actually funny. You're just being an asshole now.
I don't know. Something in there. Yeah.
Didn't feel great. Can we talk about
whatever you want?
I want to talk about the diving mask.
Again, like to have this this film with this premise, great. I want to see someone's be foiled because their diving mask broke. Like what?
The only diving mask in town got smashed, and therefore he can't go into the pond and find the necklace.
Because again, that's the kind of scene I want to see in this movie, is someone having to dive into a lake.
What are we doing? Also, electricity and water don't mix, right? That they at no point do they use that as a goal.
Yeah, that could have been a way to actually tie it together.
Fuck.
We established, okay, big body of water is somehow like a weakness of his, blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't know.
Or he can't... Fuck the diving mask. He can't get into the pond because the shocker is just electrocuting the water in the pond and he can't dive into it.
Yeah.
There you go. You can't get in there. Done deal.
Right. How is he going to get that one?
Fuck. I mean, also, as much as I love the ghost fight, what is going on?
Well, again, I think it was cool to have these ideas embedded of like things, you know, where all our dimensions cross over in some reality or plane. So to have like the death dimension also cross over into the like electricity dimension, which is what Horace's character is essentially.
Sure, yeah.
It's kind of neat, but like how it plays out, you are just going, wait, what?
Yeah. I mean, it's just suffering so much of the sort of like hodgepodginess. You know, the ideas are just first draft.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, whatever.
And
there's a lot of just, don't worry about it.
It felt like this was another review. Someone described it as felt like Wes Craven was pretty sure on assignment, just like make another hit, make another franchise. And that it just felt like a facsimile of himself, like a weird kind of what happens if someone tries to repeat their own success, and just... You can't do that by taking elements of just the thing you've already done. Like what else? You got to be, original there.
Think about this for a second. This is the same dude who wrote and directed Last House on the Left, Hills Have Eyes, Nightmare on Elm Street, Serpent and the Rainbow. I mean, other stuff too.
Yeah.
But those... Like, think about that.
Swamp Thing.
Yeah, I know, Swamp Thing.
Our other Wes Craven movie we've done.
He didn't write Serpent and the Rainbow, but still, like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah. Like I said in the summary, by the time it got to this what I thought was kind of a big finish with the dad at the TV tower, I was only thinking, oh, great, it's finally ending. And then when it just kept going, even though that's when it got to the best stuff finally... I don't know, just to kind of wrap it up again with just why even with all this stuff that's bad, where it could have been in kind of like, we made the most of it way, like just still in the end, it was just a slog.
So I think at the end of the day, yes, it is a slog. I think we might be coming in from the wrong perspective.
I do. It's as far as
if you looked at this
Right.
movie as a satire, completely as a satire and a sort of maybe even a kind of a middle finger to what you just said, like he was tasked with making another hit. If he's sort of rejecting that and being like, you know what, fuck you, I'm gonna make a fucking nutso movie in defiance of that idea, I could actually kind of get behind a lot of this movie, but it never gets there.
That intention doesn't come through.
Right. So if that were his intention, and if you looked at, this is a lot of work to do just to fucking try and enjoy a not so great movie. But
right.
For example, when they're on the radio tower, there's this is slapstick shit. There's a sign that says "Keep off the dish," and then they fall onto the dish, and it's just sort of like, it's not a good execution of slapstick, but it's almost like they're very self-aware and trying to make a joke.
It sounds like you're saying
failing.
This could have been
Scary Movie.
The Gremlins 2 to Gremlins.
Yes, exactly. Like, it is meta. Make it really go for it.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if they
should
weren't
have had,
allowed to.
Like Freddy Krueger, some element play into it, then wink at us that way.
Right. And so when you toe the line between that self-referential and...
Wait, was there a Freddy Krueger? I think there was actually a reference. But still wasn't strong enough.
No, it wasn't, because I can't remember it. If you can... They ended up in the middle, and that's never a good place to be. They ended up between... legitimately trying to take themselves seriously,
right? It was
trying
as if
to be slapstick.
He was trying to. We're still trying to still convince enough the studio. We're still trying to do whatever the studio was literally requesting or assuming maybe they were gonna get. But if they're giving you carte blanche, just do it.
It does also feel, when you sort of look at when this was being made and what else he was doing, he had a fucking ton of shit going on. In a matter of 6 years, he put out 7 movies.
Yeah.
So, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So in 5 years, he put out 7 movies.
I think as far as it really seems like the kind of film that maybe he would have and wanted to spend more time on it. I won't hold it against him. It's hard to hold it against him as being he didn't want to work on it more. It really seems like the kind of case of sort of what I've gleaned of the studio influence is doesn't matter. We need it done by this date.
Yeah. It feels like that. It feels like they were sort of given a deadline and been just get to it and get it done.
Yep. All right. How about next section? Yeah. Last section. I got some.
Okay.
Anything else? I feel like we've...
Just Peter Berg. What are you doing? Well, yeah, let's do some things of note.
All right, things of note.
Things of note!
This should be interesting.
I have a thing of note. If you are an actor and you are suffering at all, because I think actors largely do suffer from this on some level or another. If you're suffering from the idea of comparison, failure by comparison, and you're thinking I'm not good looking enough, or I'm not no, I'm talented enough, but I'm not good looking enough, or I'm not tall enough, or I don't fit into this or that or the other thing. Just remind yourself, Peter Berg had a career. Right? He shouldn't, for all intents and purposes, if you fall into the idea of, you have to fit these parameters in order to have a career, you have to be good looking and you have to whatever the fucking checklist of things that you think that you need in order to be successful as an actor, Peter Berg defies a lot of that. And I'm not saying he's not talented. I actually think he's a pretty talented actor.
Okay.
but he's got things that defy that idea. Like, he has like 13 or 14 marbles in his mouth at all times.
Oh, right.
Right? Like, he has a very odd jaw and like almost borderline speech impediment, and that dude has a fucking career. Like,
I think
those
though it was a
things
product
make him
yeah
unique,
but
right?
I think as a product of the time, as far as him having a certain look,
Yeah.
like you could see 80s casting people like going like, oh yeah, he's someone who played football. I doubt it. Like, but
No,
you know,
not
just
an
as far as how whatever that perception is of someone. Like,
Yes.
just his sort of all American but weird.
And also, having said that, I don't know the details of his career or connections to the industry. Like, it could just be he could be a large product of nepotism. I don't know. That's a thing that exists.
Mm-hmm.
If you have connections, fucking take advantage of them. But like, one way or the other, I think it's noteworthy to remember, as in any field, you can be successful.
Yep.
Don't let these little ideas of inadequacy stop you from doing that, because Peter Berg had a career.
Good.
That's my
Inspirational.
That's right.
Kind of half. I don't know what this says about Peter Berg, but
It says he went for it and overcame what other people may have said you couldn't do.
So a few of my more factoid ones. Heather Langenkamp was in it.
Really?
She apparently was the first victim in the film. I don't remember who that was, if that was
the mom,
but yeah, she says she portrays Horace Pinker's first victim. Wes Craven had a cameo as man neighbor. Daughter of Wes Craven, Jessica Craven, was a counter person, and Jonathan Craven was the jogger.
I worked for Jonathan Craven.
So did you recognize him as the jogger?
I did not. Oh, wait, the jogger who gets shot in the back?
I assume so.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
He'd been the jogger.
That seems about right.
Okay, so now these are...
By the way, he was a very nice dude.
Yeah, the Cravens are.
Yep.
I've heard. So these could sound like it's more what didn't work, but really, since we had fun with all these things, no, this is just kind of a fun exercise. Let's just in what our brains did to. I'm going to quiz you, Tim.
Okay.
Your take of the film.
Here we go.
All right. So, we already said this one. The first question was, when did he make a deal with the devil? We just simply said he did not. So this one is maybe more a commentary or a statement, but how is Ted Raimi a character? What was his character?
Okay.
What kind of character did he come across to you?
Ted Raimi is, I think, the coach's assistant.
Okay.
On the football team. So he's sort of borderline, like, he does do some first aid at one point. Yeah. So maybe he's sort of the, what do you call that? The trainer?
Yeah.
Sort of assistant guy.
That's enough.
But he's also a friend.
Yeah. That's what was so funny. It was like none of it
kept popping up.
None of his, yeah, exactly. Like no one really popped up as, maybe this is more of a what didn't work, but
no.
Ted Raimi, none of the characters were introduced as like, oh, this is this character. Right. It was just like, oh, there's Ted Raimi again. That's
an interesting thing. We've noticed this in a few of the movies that we've kind of said are not great, is that there's not, even with sub characters, you gotta just give us a little bit to chew on, to be like, yeah, I know who that guy is. Yeah. And there is nothing.
Okay, so now here's more of my questions I had for you. So, and this is also, we'll answer you when you're like, how did he know he could jump through the TV?
Yeah.
It's because Allison whispered the whole plan to him.
Oh my God, I remember that moment.
So now my question for you, knowing what his plan was and how elaborate it was and how quickly Allison seemed to whisper to him, what do you think, Tim, Allison whispered?
Am I supposed to believe that she whispered it in the time that we saw, or there was like maybe a half hour's worth of whispering that she was explaining this to him?
I'd have to reference the film to know exactly how the moment played out, but I felt like it was cut away. Quick. Okay, they cut away.
So she whispered, Jonathan, just remember, if you get a hold of the of the remote control, and then you jump through the TV screen, and then you jump into a room, and you get the Channel 6 to show up and film him, and then you jump through the lens of the Channel 6 camera, and you turn off the power at the power grid, all at 12 o'clock, you'll get him.
Precisely.
Also, I love you.
You'll get him.
Also, you're the most wonderful man I've ever met.
I'll do it for you, Allison.
I love you, Jonathan Parker.
So, and then one of your other favorite moments, the disappearing kids at the beginning.
Yes.
Why were there disappearing kids at the beginning?
Oh boy. Why were there disappearing kids? Okay, we're in a dream. We know that.
He's being led to, the lines are blurred, but she says, yeah, essentially, I think so, because she puts it as he was in a concussion or knocked out since he ran against the pole. Even the moments after that, they seem totally normal, of him like getting up, and the exchange he has with her seems like they actually happen. That's the confusing thing.
Oh man, I think it's a dream. No, I'm gonna go with it's a dream. So why do the kids run behind him and then disappear?
Especially when he doesn't even see them.
Right. Holy shit. I don't know. I don't have an answer. Because they're also dreaming, because like he disappears within that dream, right? Because he tries to jump at Horace and then like disappears and wakes up. Maybe they're kids who also are dreaming. Oh man, this is a stretch. I don't know. What do you think?
The way you're talking about it, I think maybe it's like kind of how Horace is in reality and he appears in, like, jumps into his physical reality space. Maybe those kids are actually there on the street, and in his dream, since he's dreaming he's on that street, he's like, that's their reality is blending.
Oh, I like that idea. Right, because what his premonition is reality.
Yeah.
So he's existing in his dream,
so,
is
like,
reality.
To those girls, they could have seen him going around, or the kids, and I imagine the moment that they disappeared to us, he was disappearing to them.
Possibly.
All right. Now here's the big question, Tim. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Why does he limp in other people's bodies?
Fuck. Oh my god. Why?
Why does he still have his limp?
Because in order for us to know that those characters are possessed by him, he needed to limp.
You mean
it's service? It's service to the audience. It's not logic.
It wasn't enough, just the fact that they were trying to kill him.
It slows him down, so Jonathan can get away. It's just a fucking bullshit conceit. That's all it is. It's just a contrivance.
It changes the muscles or the bones.
Maybe
the kneecap.
Yes,
every time.
Maybe here's what it is. Because Horace, when we see him coming out of them, his physical or metaphysical form has embodied them, right? Like, he's inside of them, actually.
Yes.
His electronic body is inside of their bodies. And so he's still bound by his own whatever things, his own reality injuries. There we go. I did it.
I can't believe you got it, Tim. Amazing. All right, last little factoidy things. It was interesting. It's from Wikipedia. It took around 13 submissions to the MPA to receive an R instead of an X. And some of the scenes that were cut included Pinker spitting out fingers that he bit off of the prison guard, a longer, more graphic electrocution, if you can imagine it being even longer, a longer scene of a possessed coach stabbing his own hand.
Really? That's all? Those things were pushing it into X?
Maybe more. And then
I think it's extremely noteworthy that there is not a single fucking nipple in this movie.
Yeah. It's going to be that far. As far box office wise,
Well, except for Jonathan's, which were glorious.
it came out when it premiered. It was ranking second in the box office behind the third weekend of Look Who's Talking.
I think I saw Look Who's Talking in the theater. Oh my god.
Definitely saw it a lot on video.
Well, I think it's noteworthy that Dr. Timothy Leary was the TV evangelist.
There you go.
I love that. It's just a fun person to throw into a movie.
All right, are we done with Shocker?
Yeah.
Then let's do our RecommenDEADtions. What do you recommend dead for myself and our listening audience, Timothy?
Okay, so I don't remember what episode I recommended this, but I have in the past recommended a podcast called Last Podcast on the Left. But I'm going to specifically recommend their episode on the electric chair and the history of it. Because it's so fucked up and super fucking interesting, but super fucked up. Our country and capital punishment is fucking nuts. Like, what are we doing?
Did you see
specifically the glorification of the electric chair?
Did you see that sounds great.
It's episode 358. It's called The Electric Chair, but episode 358 of Last Podcast on the Left.
Did you see the Werner Herzog movie on death row and all that stuff? I think you'd really appreciate
I don't think
that.
so.
It's good.
Cool.
And not my recommendation, though I did recommend it.
Oh, fuck. I wanted to ask one question before we got here. The one thing of note question, is this a horror movie?
I mean, yeah.
Is it? Because it feels like it's not to me, in a way. Feels like it's something else.
I've found I'm more lenient with that than other people, but I also am someone who thinks I'm right. So, because I never think I'm right. I mean, yeah,
So
it's about a serial killer jumping through murdering like 30 plus people. Like,
yeah, okay, cool.
With like,
all right, I'll take it.
Okay. My recommendation, I've been doing films a lot and try to, but we have two non-film recommendations. This one almost is specifically to you, Tim, too, because I thought of you really liking this. I want to show it to you.
What if I already know it?
It's an Instagram account.
Okay.
And you don't even need Instagram to look at Instagram accounts. You can just go to Instagram and look it up. It's called 70s Sci-Fi Art.
Ooh.
Yes, exactly.
Hell yeah.
And you think, like, remember when we were freaking out about the kind of art that was, part of the aesthetic of Mandy, like the fantasy covers and stuff? This is the sci-fi side of that. So you can kind of see.
Oh my God.
Right?
Oh, it's like my dream.
Exactly. So
make a fucking movie in that landscape. Holy shit.
Right? So I think you should spend some time, Tim, looking through that.
I just want all of my like walls covered in art like that.
Great. Yeah, no, we'll check it out and you'll find your favorites, and they, usually say the name of the piece
print?
or the artist. Yeah.
Cool.
It's 70s, like spelled out as the word, and then all as one word, sci-fi art.
So all of that's one word?
Yeah.
Cool.
70s sci-fi art.
No dashes?
No dash.
Great.
Check it out.
Sweet. Cool, dude.
I think it's your turn to pull from the hat, Tim.
Is it? All right.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Because I lost the little Shocker piece of paper.
Well,
it might still be in there. Oh, good.
No, I took it out and put it in the cup. Let's do this one. Yes!
What?
The Stuff.
The Stuff! All right, Larry Cohen.
Woo! I can't wait. I keep seeing this. I forget what platform it's on, but I keep coming across it and wanting to start it and being like, fuck, I know this is in the hat.
I think we'll have fun. I haven't seen it since probably high school. I've
never seen it.
I saw it a few times then. I remember enjoying it.
Sweet.
And and then afterwards you can watch the documentary King Cohen.
Yeah.
Really learn all about his approach to filmmaking.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, folks.
We did it.
You should join us. Watch The Stuff if you haven't recently or haven't at all. Join us for that discussion. Next week, in the meantime, you can find us at dismemberinghorror.com.
Dismembering Horror at Dismembering Horror on Instagram and at DisHorrorPod on Twitter. And you can email us, dismemberinghorror at
You can
gmail.
tell at Gmail. Yeah. You can and should tell a friend about us. Tell them to tune into one of their favorite movies that we may have talked about. Have some recent ones we've talked about. That's kind of an easy in.
Rate and review us.
Yeah.
Have we gotten any new ones of those?
I don't know, Tim.
Let's look.
I don't think so.
Cool.
But prove us wrong, people.
That's right.
I think that's it. So in closing, as always, thank you so much for joining us and listening.
And we will see you, and you'll hear us next time.
Goodbye.